In today's video, we're going to be talking about how Rockstar has made some big cultural changes about a year and a half after the release of Red Dead Redemption 2. This is a new article that just popped up on Kotaku. It was written by Jason Schreier. I'll leave a link to this in the description. And in this article, they actually talk about the next series in the Grand Theft Auto franchise, how it's apparently in early development, and also how they're going to alter the game so that the employees don't feel the same amount of crunch as producing previous titles. So this is an incredibly well-written article. I'll obviously leave a link to it in the description, but it requires a little bit of backstory in case you don't know what we're talking about here. So the article goes on to say, last fall, nearly a year after the release of Red Dead Redemption 2, top Rockstar executive Jennifer Colby sent out an email to staff with a list of bullet-pointed initiatives to improve Rockstar's culture. Rockstar, the game developer behind Grand Theft Auto and many other highly selling, often controversial games, has been widely criticized a year prior for cultural issues and extensive overtime. And then there's a quote, "In these last several months, we have undertaken a lot of work across every area of the company, looking at our processes to determine what works and what doesn't, what we are great at and what we could improve," Colby wrote in the email, which was reviewed by Kotaku. "We hope that the majority of you have felt some of these positive changes already, and those that haven't soon will." Now, Colby went on to outline some of their plans for 2020, including flexible schedules for developers at Rockstar Studios from California to the United Kingdom, management and leadership training, anonymous surveys to collect feedback from employees, regular updates on the company's future games and updates, and better communication all around. The tenor of the email was straightforward. After the controversies of 2018, Rockstar wanted to do better. They also wanted to cut back on crunch and the ubiquitous practice of working nights and weekends to finish games. Going on to say, in quote, "We have taken conscious steps to improve our approach to developing games in order to reduce the need for overtime," Colby wrote. "We realize we will have plenty to do in this area and will continue to take steps so we can accurately predict the schedule, games, and DLC in a way that is more sustainable, but still allows us to create flexible, to iterate on the incredibly ambitious and complex games that we make." So I obviously don't work at Rockstar, but it really does seem as if the environment is a lot better, especially about a year and a half after the release of Red Dead Redemption 2. But the article goes on to say, Colby's email was another in the long line of big changes or promises to change that Rockstar has made in the 18 months since the company's faced a public reckoning of its extensive overtime and other cultural issues. In October of 2018, while promoting Red Dead Redemption 2, Rockstar co-founder Dan Houser told an interviewer that he and his writing team were working over 100-hour weeks to finish the game. The claim set off an internet firestorm and led to investigations into crunch culture at the developer of some of the world's most popular video games, including the Grand Theft Auto series, where employees regularly worked months worth of 55 to 60-hour weeks to finish new games. The article goes on to say crunch wasn't the only endemic issue at Rockstar, which employs roughly 2,000 people in the studios across the globe. A subsequent investigation by Kotaku revealed a sexual harassment allegation against one of the company's top executives, Geronimo Barrera. For years, led by Houser, his brother Sam, and an inner circle of other veterans, including Barrera, many of the Rockstar offices embraced a frat house-like culture that often included heavy drinking, parties, and excursions to strip clubs. Now, however, the climate appears to be shifting at the long-running game studio. Interviews with 15 people who either work at Rockstar or left within the last year paint the picture of a company that's changing in significant ways. As one Rockstar staffer described it to Kotaku, management seems to now be set on running the company like a company. Now, Rockstar declined to provide an interview or even comment on this story. Now, the article goes on to say it does seem like a healthier culture overall, said a second Rockstar developer. "We'll see in a year or two if I'm pulling my hair out, but it does seem like we're moving in the right direction for being a company the size we are. Even today, with production slowed down and staff working from home due to the pandemic, the company's management seems to be saying the right things. They keep emphasizing that it's normal to not be productive and our focus should be on our health and taking care of our families, said a third Rockstar employee. Now here's where things get really interesting. The article goes on to say Rockstar's leaders have told employees that they hope to mitigate crunch on the next big project by improving their technology pipelines and planning out more of the game's beats in advance. One belief shared by Rockstar employees is that Dan Houser's departure will lead to fewer last-minute rewrites and overhauls, the type that led to a great deal of overtime on Red Dead Redemption 2. Rockstar has also implemented flexi-time scheduling for many employees, allowing them to work variable hours based on their preferences and needs. And as a follow-up, one plan that management has laid out for the next game, a new entry in the Grand Theft Auto series, is to start out with a moderately sized release, which by Rockstar standards would still be a large game, that is then expanded with regular updates over time, which may help mitigate stress and crunch. Okay, so we've still got a lot more to talk about, but that is very interesting. According to Kotaku, Rockstar's next big project is going to be a new entry in the Grand Theft Auto series, which I'm assuming we can say is going to be GTA 6. And they also said that in order to cut down on developer crunch, the game might not be as big at the start. Obviously, in the last two Rockstar titles, GTA 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2, they had massive campaigns with tons of missions, side quests, and more content to explore. Well, it looks like GTA 6 might take a different approach. It might have a moderately sized campaign, game, story, and then over time, it will receive more updates. I'm assuming that would be like the DLCs we got back in GTA 4, like the Ballad of Gay Tony and The Lost and the Damned, that explicitly expanded on the story as well as adding more content like cars, weapons, clothing, and new characters. Okay, so that's really interesting, and the article goes on to say, but there's a catch. Rockstar's next big project is still early in development. When production ramps up and the game gets closer to launching, will overtime come with it? Will Rockstar's employees then face the pressure of months of crunch in order to finish all of the ambitious works it takes to make a Rockstar game? The changes have been good enough for me to stay and give them a chance, but let's see what happens down the road when the pressures of developing and delivering a final product become reality, said one developer. So that's interesting. According to that post right there, Rockstar's next big project, which is a new entry into the Grand Theft Auto series, very likely GTA 6, is still very early in development. So for many people that were expecting or anxious or excited for Rockstar to potentially release GTA 6 in 2020 and even 2021, I think this confirms that we are still at least a couple of years away from the release of the game. Now, what early development means from this article, that's still a little bit unknown. And also, if you remember, GTA 5 was also in early development when it was announced. So it kind of depends on what they mean with early. Early development can mean that the story isn't finished or there's aspects of the game they're not satisfied with. So it doesn't necessarily mean an announcement could be, years away, but apparently it's still in early development. Now, if you guys are interested in the rest of the article, which goes on to talk about some more quotes from Rockstar employees and how Rockstar looks like they're going to be handling the future of creating games, I'll leave a link to that post again in the description, this article on Kotaku. It's a really good read. I would recommend taking like 5 to 10 minutes out of your day to check it out. But the author of this post, Jason Schreier, who again writes for Kotaku, has his own book, is a video game journalist and insider, he also took to Twitter to put an interesting statement as a follow-up. So on Twitter, he said, the next GTA is still a ways away. So it'll be a while before we see whether the company's attempts to mitigate crunch are really successful, but in the last year, Rockstar has made several quality of life improvements and replaced managers that staff described as toxic. So again, the thing we're focusing on there is the next GTA is still a ways away. So again, What that means, we don't know. Is it going to be 2022, 2023? God forbid 2024. Who knows when Rockstar is going to be able to get this game out, when we'll hear something official from them in terms of an announcement. And the idea that Grand Theft Auto 6 might not have as much content in it, or they might have to rely on DLCs after release to fill in those gaps, is something that we've heard from the top at Rockstar. In fact, it comes from Take-Two Interactive CEO Strauss Zelnick. Back in 2019, he basically said he expects two things from his companies: shorter releases, but also a smaller amount of content in those games. He went on to say it's possible that games may be a bit shorter than they were in certain instances. Zelnick says it's possible that the ability to deliver content on an ongoing basis for a long time after an initial release of a hit would mean that perhaps that initial release wouldn't be as long in terms of number of hours of gameplay as previously had been demanded in a world where that was all you were getting. So those 2 points right there sort of go hand in hand with what exactly Rockstar is saying and their parent company Take-Two Interactive is saying. So GTA 6 wouldn't be shocking if it had a shorter story and campaign, at least initially, than both Grand Theft Auto 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2. But anyways, that's all the information that I've got for you guys in this video today. Again, an incredible published article from Kotaku that outlines the updated cultural changes at Rockstar, and also how GTA 6 apparently is currently in very early development. What that means for an announcement, reveal, release, it's crazy. Hopefully we hear something soon, but this was a very interesting article. So again, I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of everything we discussed in this video today and more. If you guys did go to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would of course be awesome. And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new, or you want to stay up to date on all the latest GTA and Red Dead Redemption videos that I'm doing here on my channel. And be sure to ring that notification bell as well. Sometimes YouTube just doesn't work, and if you ring that bell, you'll always be guaranteed to be notified when new videos arrive. But of course, as always, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.